Oh yeah, here on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network, we're breaking out the Sam Spence music, the powerful NFL music, because it's Sunday, it is week 9. Okay, so the week began on Thursday, obviously, with the Steelers and Titans. And today, if you're a Giant fan, are we really looking forward to a team that should have beat the Jets, that should have beat the Bills? I don't know if I've talked about this, but the Bills game was so disappointing to me. Okay, you're at the one twice. Just the last time happened to be at the very end when you had a chance to win it on a pass interference. And I understand in the first half, Tyrod Taylor's run play to Saquon Barkley failed terribly. But you're going to tell me in that game the Giants should not have run it again after that pass interference call? I disagree with you. I think the Giants should have outright run it. But you see, that game pissed me off more than last week's Jet game, because at this point, the Giants are literally finding ways to lose. And I'm not surprised they found a way to lose against the Jets. I'm just not. Was it stinging? Yes. Was it they should have put the game away instead of going to Graham Gano for another missed field goal? Yes. Is Brian Dable tanking the season? No. Stop with that conversation too. I mean, here we are in week 9, 2-6, needing to win to avoid a losing season. And they're only 3 losses away from a losing season, by the way. But they need to win out the rest of the year, for the most part, if they want a chance even of winning season. Playoff spot doesn't even seem fathomable after the Giants won their first playoff game in eons last year. But they go into Oakland today. If you're a Jet fan, I think you're looking forward to seeing how you match up against the Chargers. We talked with Lou Terminello. I don't think you can mess around like the Jets did last week either and expect to beat that Charger team or any big team. Then there's KC in Miami. Okay, they want Tyreek Hill booed in Kansas City, so they had to move the game all the way to Frankfurt, Germany. Don't ask me why or how that makes sense, but talk about desperate measures. The Chiefs taking the road to Germany, where I don't know if Taylor Swift will cross overseas and watch Kelsey and Mahomes in Frankfurt. I only was fired up to play that music. This wasn't really the main topic of today. I want to tell you today, you too can have one leg up on referral codes. What a big jump, right? But I'm fired up. It's the NFL. Always love playing Sam Spence. But here's what I really want to talk about. You too can have one leg up on referral codes. What do I mean by that? All right, so let's say you're part of a group and maybe that group offers some money if you refer your friends, your family, or whomever to their website. And I have been wanting for so long a handshake deal for this podcast, but I've just accepted the fact that sharing codes is just as impactful, right? Impact.com, where I can share affiliate links on this podcast in the link below. And I might. I've got a couple Fanatics items I want to share with you. The Cubs celebrating their curse-breaking World Series 7 years ago this week. Corey Seager's jersey is on sale right now at Fanatics as well. Check them out. Check the links below. And people have actually clicked. But I am just amazed at how referral codes have totally changed the game when it comes to sponsorships. You basically are advertising a place like Upside, a place like Fetch, which I'm going to get into in a second. When you share a referral code, that's an advertisement as far as I'm concerned, especially because you get rewards back. And Fetch actually makes your receipts worth more than just being a piece of paper and maybe for your tax files. With Fetch, you actually can scan your receipts on a daily basis, earn points, and you get to unlock all these different rewards at certain plateaus. In fact, one of the perks of continuing when you use your points is you can get cash cards. Yes, you can get $5, $10, $25, $50 gift cards through Fetch just by utilizing your receipts. It'll take a mountain to get there. It'll take a climb to get there. But my goodness, it feels worth it. And I'm kind of impulsory. So once I get that reward at $5, I don't know if I'm going to use it or not because I'd rather build up a little bit. And then, yes, there's Survey Junkie. All I got to do for 7,500 points is drop this code below, and I might because they're also an affiliate link as well. And they got involved with me at the affiliate summit. But all I got to do is share their website, and I get about 1,500 points per redemption of someone else's survey taking. So if they get a link from me and they redeem, I'm added $15 basically. I think that's pretty cool. And I don't expect a lot of action on it, but hell, I share the invites and share the referral codes because you just never know. You just never know. And these surveys can be eye-opening on Survey Junkie. I'll tell you that much. Because on Survey Junkie, they get into a wide variety of topics. Whether it be travel, whether it be dining, whether it be what TVs, shows you're watching, what apps you're streaming on. Can also be reminders of, they ask about health as well. Can be reminders to us. Are we doing it? Are we doing things well enough in our own world? That kind of was what these surveys do to me is I answer one, I'm like, man, I could take a cue from this survey and import it into my own life and utilize sort of what they're asking me and my answers back and say, boy, I'm not doing enough, or maybe I'm doing this too much, or whatever. But I think as much as you can make money on Survey Junkie, when you do these surveys, it's a long haul, and it causes you to be self-reflective, which is a good thing. By the way, I don't know if you're biologically wired, but in about an hour and 10 minutes, no, 20 minutes, we are going to fall back an hour. That should be exciting. And I know it gets a little depressing when the sun sets at 5 and not 6, but we deal with it every year. And it's a tradition once again. But I'm only telling you this because if you're looking for ways to make money, these referral codes can help you gain a lot of traction. And I don't know if many of these utilizers of the app have a podcast, but I kind of am glad to bring that aspect to you on the show. That money-making aspect. Sure, surveys can take an average of 15 minutes, of 6 minutes to about 30 to 45. And it can be a long haul. And it could be tiresome. It could be very, very question heavy. But it's worth it. Especially when you see, oh man, you can redeem points for real money. Again, Survey Junkie offers gift cards, and they offer PayPal redemption right on the spot. And I will send you the link for more information in the info below. But if you haven't already, download Fetch to make your receipts come to life and give you money back. Download Upside for their own version of money back, whether it's a gas station or your local restaurants. For me, I just got 50,000 additional locations utilizing Upside to pay and get money back. All you gotta do is claim the offer there, and boom, you've got some money on the way. So, it's just thought, if you get invited by someone to be part of a survey site or a app or a cashback app, it's not spam, it's real. And I think, is it self-serving for the person to send out the link? Sure. But I think also they pass on this opportunity for you as well to get cash back. And then I did not want to loop in Survey Junkie. Oh, one last thing before I get into my final thought of this episode. One other thing that I got wind of, thanks to Instagram advertising, is a group called Nexus Relocation. Again, they did not pay me to do this, but Nexus Relocation, and I'm hoping to have Justin Alias on to discuss what's happening in Nashville the week of the MLB winter meetings. On December 4th, Nexus and Nexus Relocation will be hosting the winter meeting event, calling it the Nexus Network MLB Winter Meetings Mixer. As a baseball fan, you don't know how much I want to buy a damn ticket and fly down there and meet and Nexus members, MLB personnel, current, former players, alumni, and industry professionals. According to Justin, he texted me prior, he said, you're going to get to meet some high net worth people in that room. And yes, it's $500, but if you're a baseball fan and you always watch the winter meetings on TV, wouldn't you want to get involved for once? And sometimes they have these things in Florida and Arizona and California. But this is Nashville. This feels closer to home than a lot of others. So if you're interested, I implore you to go to Nexus Relocation on Instagram and find out more. Or email them at info@nexusreload.com. Again, they didn't pay me to say this, but I just thought give them a shout out because they are not only real estate, but they're a sports and entertainment company as well. Cool shit, right? I think so. And then finally, I didn't want to loop in this with Survey Junkie, but I have a segment, and I'm trying to build it, and I haven't done a very good job at it, that I want to call it, What Are They Saying Wednesday? And I haven't done that yet. But some astonishing stories going on with Palestinians and Gaza, besides the horror that, we saw in Israel and the retaliation in which they're doing their damnedest to get Hamas killed, it is coming at the risk of civilian casualties, and you never want that. But I often wonder, when they say ceasefire, do you think Hamas would abide to a ceasefire? I don't freaking think so. So why should Israel? Why should Israel? I'm so mad about this word being thrown out as a punishment to Israel, and a don't you dare follow up with an attack. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It is so bad that in Europe right now, there's been an invention that could possibly save the Jewish population's lives in Europe. It's actually a camouflage mezuzah. As crazy as that sounds, and for those of you who don't know, mezuzahs are, and of course, this is a small decorative case which Jewish households attach to the right doorframe of the entrance to their home. But as my fiance keeps asking, what is the world coming to right now? And I agree. I have often said the last couple of weeks here, the goal of anybody of Jewish descent should be to encourage other Jews to try their best not to live in fear, not to let Hamas win. Because when you live in fear, unfortunately, that is what's happening. I implore the Jewish community to keep having rallies, to keep being peaceful and show how animalistic the other side has become, when basically saying, eradicate the state of Israel and eradicate Jews. That's really the message college campuses want to have. Columbia is now telling the community, hey, don't dox pro-Palestinian students. Well, a Jewish student was attacked on campus. Where was that outrage by Columbia's staff? It infuriates me, not only as someone of Jewish descent myself, but as someone who cannot stand seeing a bunch of uneducated college kids advocating for the eradication of Jewish people. That's what is so bothersome. And yeah, I would say uneducated, I would say malicious to say gas the Jews. It's pretty malicious. And that should be considered hate speech on the streets of New York. But where is the inciting of violence that those that say that are undergoing right now? Where are those accusations? Where are those trials? Oh, I forgot. They weren't there on January 6th, so they will get the free pass, right? Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. And then the study I wanted to get to today was in Gaza and in Palestine. There have been a few polls conducted before the war that actually had shown that twice as many people in Gaza, 57%, said they could not afford food at times in the past 12 months. %29% are struggling to afford adequate shelter. And 2/3 of residents in Gaza could be classified as highly or moderately vulnerable before the war. More than half of the Palestinians living in Gaza reported feeling a lot of daily stress. Well, I think this is what happens when you have a terrorist-led government. I also know that some listening to this would say, well, that's sad because Israel's pressuring them every day and this, that, and the other. And I just think the Hamas, PLA, I guess the PA now, Palestinian Authority, don't forget the Iranian government, they are oppressing their own people. I don't believe that Israel doesn't want peace. I think they do. And I will boldly say that, no matter how wrong you may think I am. It's my gut feeling to believe that Israel wants peace. And it's my gut feeling that this daily stress and this living basically in poverty is because the despots, the terrorists in the Palestinian government would not let them thrive because they want to rule with that iron fist. Gaza's population is among the youngest in the world. Half of its residents are under the age of 18. But the pessimism has grown to 28% of Palestinians in 2023, with fewer seeing opportunities for the next generation. And I have to believe that they voted in a government that was not looking out for them. And why isn't that discussion brought up at all? And then this study also got me from Foreign Affairs what Palestinians really think of Hamas. Before the war, Gaza's leaders were deeply unpopular. And in that article, they actually start out kind of lamenting the plight of Palestinians in Gaza. And that's why this article, it made me a bit weary, if you will, because I didn't know where they would land on it. And I didn't know how far left this would go. But even Foreign Affairs says the vast majority of Gazans have been frustrated with the armed group's ineffective government, not aligning themselves with Hamas's ideology either. The majority of the survey that they conducted favored a two-state solution with an independent Palestine and Israel is existing side by side. And I've often said that I find every president in America has struggled with this two-state solution idea. But here's what Foreign Affairs, our most recent interviews were carried out between September 28th and October 8th. Remember, this attack happened on Israel on October 7th. survey found that 44% had no trust in Hamas at all. Not a lot of trust was the second most common response at 23%. Only 29% expressed either a great deal or quite a lot of trust in the government. 72% actually said there was a lot of corruption in government institutions, and only a minority thought the government was taking meaningful steps to address the problem. So, the government that was voted in has lost the trust of the people. They're only a group of terrorists running the country right now. And again, how is Israel the frickin' problem when you see the stats? I'm trying to correct the record and trying to bring you a different perspective than what's being spewed out on the streets of New York, that Israel is this evil, awful country. No. It's not. The Jewish people have a right to exist. The Jewish people have a right to not be afraid to leave their home. And I'd also say the flip side is count every hate crime. Okay, so unfortunately, there have been hate crimes committed against, I believe, Palestinian men and women in this city that are not affiliated with the rallies. But I've got to believe that the Columbia attack wasn't the only one of anti-Semitism. And the idea that we're only going to cover one set of hate crimes in the media is disgusting to me. The idea that even Yale is saying, Yale's newspaper, student newspaper, is saying Hamas's terror is unsubstantiated. Sickens me. Sickens me. The Israeli government will have a lot of probably accountability in their next election. But for now, they need every support they can get. And with Blinken, the Secretary of State, asking for a pause on humanitarian efforts, it just doesn't feel genuine when our government is telling one of our best allies, our biggest allies, can you pause your attacks on Hamas? Boy, imagine if Hamas was told to pause their attacks. They'd be laughing in the faces of us and doing it anyway. Netanyahu needs to march to the beat of his own gut right now. And if you hate him, if you love him, whatever you think of him, put that aside, especially if you hate him. Put it aside right now. Because this country, this group of Jewish men and women and kids, and the fact that it's trickled here to the U.S., this is the first time I can remember a Palestinian government's attack on Israel shaking the core of America, because you have both sides out there. You have the Jewish community enraged, rightfully so, at the inaction of President Biden. And I know he's been sending billions of dollars over there, but they could be doing more. by just simply telling Netanyahu, whatever you choose to do, we have your back. Instead, what have we been hearing is, please don't do it. Please don't escalate. Please don't attack back. Then how is Israel supposed to survive? And these two surveys I told you tonight show that the Palestinian people already have issues with the government, already were run terribly by Hamas. But that goes out the window at a time when those stats shouldn't go out the window. So read them in the stats below, in the description below, and we'll talk to you soon. And we just got to continue to pray that the U.S. supports Israel, that Jewish Americans, Jewish New Yorkers are not afraid to leave their home and continue to stand in solidarity with one another. And you might think I'm crazy for being more vocal, not letting Hamas shut down and silence the voice of the Jewish American. And one final thought. A very Jewish-heavy CUNY college today did win the CUNYAC soccer championship. And I'm so excited that Baruch College won the CUNYAC championship. You know why? Because in a institution that I graduated from, CUNY, but that has been known to be anti-Semitic, this is a big win and a good news story for the Jewish community and CUNY alumni. And I hope they go on further in their championship run, in their endeavor, in, I'm sure, the NCAA D3 tournament now. But a much-needed victory and a morale booster for Jewish Americans can come right on the field of the Queens College soccer field, where Baruch College took home a championship, the soccer championship. Stay tuned for more as we continue on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network. And please, if you want to download the apps I mentioned, Upside, Fetch, go for it and use my codes below. And we can, together, create some side hustles for people. How about that? Have a great night or a great morning. And for those running the marathon, have fun. Be safe. And make every mile of the 26.2 miles you are about to run in New York City count. Hopefully we'll be cheering you today on the sidelines at Central Park. We'll talk to you soon on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network.